Today we're going to talk about the carbon cycle. After the last couple weeks we've been working on the water cycle. Now we're going to use those same ideas but with carbon this time. So here's the picture that you see at the top of your notes. We're going to fill this in after we take the notes. So we can skip this for now. We'll come back to this at the end. All right, your first topic is carbon. So why is carbon important? Well, all life forms are carbon-based, which means that all life forms, carbon is very important for. Carbon is the building block for life. Now, carbon is most commonly found in the atmosphere. And this is one of our four spheres that we learned about a couple weeks ago. And it's most commonly found as carbon dioxide, which is CO2. So that means the same thing. Carbon dioxide and CO2 are the same thing. And then finally, carbon can be transferred from sphere to sphere through different processes. So carbon can be transferred, meaning it goes from one sphere to another sphere through a couple different processes that we're going to talk about today. So next is this term fossil fuels. This is an important one, especially in today's world. So over millions of years, such a long time, millions of years, super long. Heat and pressure can transform dead plants into fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas. So as we can see on the picture here, there's a bunch of plants that have died and are all starting to make their way at the bottom of this lake. And then over time, there's a bunch of heat and pressure on these, really squishing it together. And over millions and millions of years, then we get oil, could be coal, could be gas, that forms, and we call these three fossil fuels. All three of those are fossil fuels. So it takes a super long time to squish these dead plants together, and then we get fossil fuels. So let's talk about those processes that you have written down there. The first one is combustion. Now, combustion is the burning of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas, and it puts CO2, so this is carbon dioxide, into the atmosphere. And we can see it in these pictures. Right here, this factory is pushing all of this black smoke and carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. And then our cars also have this vent at the back that pushes out carbon dioxide and smoke into the atmosphere. Next is this tricky word called photosynthesis. So plants absorb, which means take in, sunlight. Let me get another color here, like right here. And carbon dioxide, there's that word again, carbon dioxide, from the atmosphere, and this should say to make food. So it gets light and it gets carbon dioxide absorbed into the plant, which means it's taking it in, it's soaking it in, and it creates plant food for itself. So that takes carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere and into the plant. Next is respiration, which is animals and humans release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere by breathing. So each time you and I breathe in and breathe out, we release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So you can see in this picture here, this guy is breathing out, which means this carbon dioxide is going into the atmosphere. And finally, deforestation. So it means exactly how it sounds in English, deforest. So we're going to take away the forest. So humans cut and burn trees, putting carbon dioxide into the atmosphere to make room for farms and buildings. So as you can see in this picture, these trees have been cut and burnt, which means we're taking the carbon that was in the trees and we're putting it in the atmosphere because we're burning it and we're cutting them down. So that is deforestation. Okay, so let's put these on our drawing here. So we'll have to go all the way back up to the top of our notes to do this drawing. So first we'll start with these people right here. And all of these people are breathing in and out. So this would be respiration. Remember, this is the process of humans and animals exhaling or breathing out. And this puts carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Okay, so we have respiration. Now let's move over to this building over here. And this is putting carbon dioxide in the atmosphere through the process of combustion. So this is burning the fossil fuels and putting carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Now we're going to go over to these two trees, and there's two of them that we need to put on here. The first one goes from the sun, so we're going to draw a long arrow here from the sun all the way over to the tree, and the tree is absorbing light from the sun, and it's also absorbing carbon from the atmosphere through the process of photosynthesis. So it's absorbing the sunlight and it's absorbing this carbon dioxide from the atmosphere to create photosynthesis. And we have two more to do here. This tree has been cut down over here, so this is releasing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere through the process of deforestation. So that is releasing carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere. So right now we have three that are releasing into the atmosphere. So combustion, respiration, and deforestation are all putting carbon into the atmosphere. And then we have photosynthesis, which is taking carbon out of the atmosphere. So that's the only one that's taking it out of the atmosphere. The other three are putting it into the atmosphere. And then finally, we know that after this tree dies, after millions and millions of years and it being squished together by a bunch of dirt and soil and sand on top of it, we will form fossil fuels. So after millions and millions of years, what's left of that dead tree will be squished together and it'll form fossil fuels. So those are all of the words, all of your learning targets are on this drawing. That should help you fill out those learning targets. So let Mrs. Amare know or let your teacher know if you have any questions about your learning targets.